The singer Sean Diddy Combs gets hit by a Me Too scandal, but settles the case only 24 hours after it first got filed. What's happening? Let's learn a little bit more about this. So this story involves Sean Diddy Combs and fellow singer Cassie, who is the singer who got us hooked up with the song Me and You. Cassie brought a lawsuit against her ex, Mr. Diddy himself, that's straight out of a Hollywood scandal script. She accused him of serious crimes like sexual assault, sexual battery, and even trafficking over the course of their relationship. These are the kinds of allegations that send shockwaves through the entertainment industry. But this particular case, not as much with the shockwaves, perhaps because as quickly as it was filed, it was settled. It was 1 minute the news was breaking, but the next minute it was all over. Cassie's attorney, Douglas Wingdor, announced an amicable settlement, at least according to the parties, and this was all within 24 hours after the New York Times initially dropped the bombshell report regarding the lawsuit. Perhaps it is unsurprising because the case settled so fast, both parties gave statements that were pretty reserved in their nature. Cassie, for her part, emphasized that she wanted to resolve things on her own terms and maintain some sense of control. Diddy's response, for his part, was equally brief, expressing good wishes to Cassie and her family with the signature "Love" sign-off at the end of the statement. Now, Mr. Diddy's lawyer, a man named Ben Baffman, of course, spent no time wasted to make crystal clear that just because they settled, it didn't mean that Diddy was confessing to any particular wrongdoing. So no admissions is part of this settlement. In fact, Diddy's camp came out very strongly against the claims, with them personally calling out Cassie as merely an extortionist, accusing Cassie of demanding a $30 million hush payment to stop her from writing a tell-all book about their relationship. The civility of the settlement terms is somewhat belied by the lawsuit itself because Cassie's lawsuit had some particularly lurid details. Cassie, as part of her lawsuit, claimed that what seemed like a tumultuous, sometimes glamorous relationship to the public was in fact a dark and abusive one behind the scenes. She claimed for her part that the relationship started when she was just 19, with Diddy exploiting her youth, continuing for over a decade. As part of her complaint, she described incidences of being fed alcohol and other drugs by Diddy, and at least according to her, being forced into various situations, including sexual ones, with other men. She also claimed that she had to endure physical abuse, including beatings, that she said often occurred in the presence of others who felt powerless to intervene due to the star's clout power. Cassie also claimed as part of the lawsuit that she made multiple attempts to try to leave or otherwise distance herself from Diddy, but this would result in threats to her career and even more manipulation that prevented her from feeling like she could leave. According to her, the manipulation included a steady supply of opiates and other drugs, which led to her developing a substance abuse problem and also suffered a diagnosis of memory loss. Cassie's lawsuit essentially claims that she was brainwashed by Diddy and that her own willpower was subsumed by the star and also his staff. Cassie said that her relationship continued until 2018, at which point she finally worked up the courage to leave Diddy for good. However, she says that this breakup ultimately resulted in her being assaulted one last time following the breakup. Her lawsuit painted a picture of a brutally sinister relationship and as Diddy with someone with uncontrollable rage. Further bolstering Cassie's allegations were other members of the industry who voiced support for Cassie as part of her lawsuit. Dawn Richards and Aubrey O'Day, former members of Dante Kane, who had worked with Diddy in the past, backed Cassie's claims, suggesting a pattern in Diddy's behavior. One of the more interesting legal aspects to this particular lawsuit is the timing. New York had passed a law extending the statute of limitations for past claims, but only for a brief time. And Cassie filed her lawsuit right before the New York Adult Survivors Act was set to expire. This lawsuit gave survivors a 1-year window to file back sexual abuse claims that otherwise would have been barred by the statute of limitations. Adding to the backdrop of this legal drama, the lawsuit was filed in the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York, naming not just Diddy, but also his companies as co-defendants, including Bad Boy Entertainment, Epic Records, and Comb Enterprises LLC. The lawsuit claimed that Diddy used his various business enterprises and the staff within it as part of the exploitation that had gone for years. The lawsuit deemed how Cassie was employed by these entities and alleged that the abuse began not long after she had signed with Bad Boy Records. Adding further fuel to the mix was an incident with Kid Cudi that the lawsuit also mentioned. Apparently, Diddy got so enraged over Cassie showing interest in Cudi that he threatened and actually destroyed Cudi's car out of jealousy. As for Diddy's part, of course, he still remains a major figure in the music industry and was recently estimated by Forbes to have a net worth of over $1 billion. So certainly not struggling in his professional life. Cassie, for her part, says that she has moved on from the entire ordeal and is now happily engaged to her personal trainer, Alex Fine, with whom she is expecting a daughter. So that is the scoop on the Diddy story. It is a reminder of the complexities and sometimes dark side of fame. It's also an additional chapter in the ongoing and complex Me Too saga. So it will be certainly interesting to see how it all pans out for both the Me Too movement and Diddy's career in the future. Until later, my friends, I've been Uncivil Law. I hope you've enjoyed the story. And until later, my friends, goodbye.